Night falls over the ancient land of Kemet. The desert wind sighs across the endless sands, carrying secrets older than memory. In the darkness, the Nile glimmers a silver serpent winding through the black earth, its waters whispering promises of life and renewal. But tonight, something stirs beyond the ordinary rhythm of flood and harvest. Tonight, a dream is born, a dream so audacious, so impossible, that it will echo through eternity. Nearly 5,000 years ago, the world was a place of mystery and wonder. The old kingdom of Egypt was young, its people bound to the cycles of the river and the will of their gods. The air was thick with incense and anticipation. In the city of Memphis, the heart of Egypt, torches flickered against mud brick walls, casting long shadows that danced like spirits. Here, in the palace of Pharaoh Djoser, a vision began to take shape, one that would forever alter the destiny of a civilization. Djoser, the living god, sat upon his throne. His eyes were sharp, his bearing regal, but beneath the golden headdress lay a mind restless with ambition. He was not content to be remembered as just another ruler in a long line of kings. Djoser sought immortality, not merely for himself, but for his name, his legacy, his very soul. In Egypt, death was not an end, but a passage. The afterlife was a journey fraught with peril, and only the most prepared, the most favored, would reach the field of reeds. The king's tomb must be more than a resting place. It must be a vessel for the soul, a beacon to the gods. But how does a mortal ascend to the realm of the divine? How does one bridge the chasm between earth and sky? Into this world stepped Imhotep. High priest, physician, sage his name would one day be spoken with reverence, even awe. But in these early days, he was simply a man with a mind ablaze. Imhotep moved through the palace corridors, his linen robes whispering against the stone. He was a man of science and spirit, a master of both numbers and mysteries. In his hands, the mundane became miraculous. Djoser and Imhotep met in the cool silence of the inner sanctum. The pharaoh spoke of eternity, of the need for a tomb unlike any before, a monument that would not crumble, a stairway to the heavens. Imhotep listened, his eyes reflecting the flicker of the oil lamps. He understood the weight of the pharaoh's desire. The challenge was immense. Until now, the dead had been buried in mastabes low, flat tombs of mud brick, humble and unassuming. Djoser demanded something greater. Imhotep's mind raced. He sketched in the sand lines and angles, shapes that defied tradition. What if, he wondered, the tomb could rise? What if it could reach toward the sky? Each level a step closer to divinity. Outside, the city stirred. Artisans and laborers, priests and scribes, all were summoned to the pharaoh's service. The site was chosen. Saqqara, a windswept plateau west of the Nile, where the desert met the sky. Here, beneath the unblinking gaze of Ra, the sun god, the impossible would be attempted. The work began at dawn. The first stone was laid with ceremony, an offering to the gods. The air filled with the clang of copper tools, the shouts of overseers, the rhythmic chant of workers. Dust rose in golden clouds, catching the morning light. Day after day, the mastaba grew not outward, but upward. Imhotep's vision took form. A series of stacked terraces, each smaller than the last, forming a giant staircase of stone. The challenges were immense. The desert was unforgiving, the sun merciless. Stone had to be quarried, shaped, and hauled across the sands. The logistics alone would have daunted lesser men. Yet Imhotep was relentless. He devised ramps and levers, organized teams with military precision. He studied the stars, aligning the structure with the cardinal points, ensuring that every angle, every shadow was in harmony with the cosmos dot, and always there was the sense of something greater at work. The workers believed they were building not just for their king, but for the gods themselves. Each block was set with prayers, each tool blessed with sacred oil. The priests walked among the laborers, chanting hymns to Ptah, the creator, and Thoth, the Lord of wisdom. The boundary between the earthly and the divine blurred, and the pyramid rose slowly, inexorably toward the heavens. What drove them? Was it fear of the Pharaoh's wrath, or awe at his power? Was it faith in the afterlife, or the hope of a blessing from the gods? Or was it something deeper, a yearning to leave a mark upon the world, to be remembered when the sands had swallowed all else? As the step pyramid neared completion, its white limestone gleamed in the sun, visible for miles across the plain. It was unlike anything the world had ever seen, a monument not just to a king, but to the audacity of human imagination. Djoser visited the site, his retinue trailing behind him. He stood at the base, looking up, and for a moment, even the living. God seemed humbled by the scale of what had been achieved. Imhotep, too, stood in the shadow of his creation. He knew that this was only the beginning. The pyramid was more than a tomb. It was a statement, a challenge to future generations. Could they build higher? Could they reach further? Could they touch the face of the divine? Night fell once more. Over Saqqara, the workers rested, the priests offered thanks, and the pharaoh dreamed of eternity. The step pyramid stood silent, its angles sharp against the starlit sky, but its presence was anything but quiet. It hummed with possibility, with the promise of mysteries yet to be revealed. Dawn broke over the plateau, painting the limestone, terraces in hues of gold and rose. The step pyramid stood as a silent sentinel, its sharp lines casting long shadows across the sand. Yet, for all its grandeur, it was only the beginning. A deeper mystery lingered in the air. How had the ancient Egyptians conceived such flawless angles and alignments, so precise that even the centuries could not erode their perfection? In the cool pre-dawn hours, before the laborers arrived, a different kind of work began. High atop the rising monument, Imhotep stood with his priests and surveyors, their eyes turned skyward. The night sky in ancient Egypt was a tapestry of gods and stories, each star a point of divine order. The priests believed that the heavens themselves were a blueprint, a sacred map to be mirrored on earth. To build for eternity, one must first understand the language of the cosmos. The tools at their disposal were simple plumb bobs, knotted cords, sighting rods, but in their hands, these became instruments of revelation. With careful steps, they measured the land, marking out lines that pointed true north, east, south, and west. The alignment was not merely practical, it was spiritual. To orient a tomb to the cardinal points was to place the king at the center of the universe, his soul aligned with the eternal cycle of the sun and stars. By day, the surveyors walked the site, stretching cords taut across the sand, driving stakes with rhythmic precision. By night, they watched the circumpolar stars, those that never set, the imperishables that circled the northern sky. These stars, the Egyptians believed, were the souls of the blessed dead, forever unchanging, forever watching. To align a pyramid to these stars was to promise the pharaoh a place among them. But the secrets of sacred geometry ran deeper still. Imhotep and his priests were keepers of ancient knowledge, passed down through generations. They understood that numbers held power, that proportions could invoke harmony. The ratio of the pyramid's base to its height was not chosen at random. It echoed the sacred triangle, the symbol of creation itself. Every angle, every measurement was a prayer in stone. The workers, too, felt the weight of this mystery. As they hauled blocks and shaped limestone, they whispered stories of the gods, who measured the world at the dawn of time. They believed that to build with such precision was to participate in the act of creation, to bring order from chaos. The very act of construction became a ritual, each stone a verse in a hymn to the divine dot. In the workshops, artisans carved intricate hieroglyphs recording the names of stars and gods, the rituals performed at each stage. Scribes dipped their reeds in ink, capturing the wisdom of the ages on rolls of papyrus. The knowledge was guarded closely, for to possess the secrets of measurement was to hold the keys to eternity. As the pyramid rose, so too did the sense of wonder. Visitors from distant lands arrived, their eyes wide with disbelief. How could a people with no iron tools, no wheels, no advanced machinery, achieve such perfection? Some whispered that the Egyptians possessed magic, that the gods themselves guided their hands. Others saw only the discipline and devotion of a people united by faith and purpose. Yet, for all the awe, there was also fear. The priests warned that a single miscalculation could doom the pharaoh's soul to wander forever. The rituals of measurement were performed with utmost care, each step accompanied by offerings and prayers. The boundary between success and disaster was as thin as a reed. On certain nights, when the moon was new and the stars blazed bright, Imhotep would climb to the highest terrace and gaze into the darkness. He traced the paths of the constellations, seeking patterns, searching for meaning. Did he sense, in those moments, the enormity of what he was attempting? Did he feel the weight of history pressing down, the eyes of future generations watching? The pyramid, in its silent majesty, became a bridge between worlds. Its angles caught the first light of dawn and the last glow of dusk, marking the passage of time. Its base was rooted in the black earth of the Nile, its peak reaching for the sky. It was both tomb and temple, both machine and mystery. As the seasons turned and the work continued, the people of Egypt began to see their world differently. The old mastabas seemed small, insignificant. The new monument, with its perfect lines and cosmic alignment, promised something greater, a glimpse of eternity, a taste of the divine. The obsession with sacred geometry would not end at Saqqara. The dream of perfection, once awakened, would drive future generations to even greater feats. The blueprint had been drawn, the path set. The gods, it seemed, had spoken through stone and star, and the world would never be the same. In the hush of the desert night, as the last embers of the campfires faded, the step pyramid stood alone beneath the vault of heaven. Its angles pointed to mysteries yet unsolved. Its stones held secrets yet untold. And in the silence, one could almost hear the whisper of the gods, calling humanity to reach higher, to build not just for the present, but for all eternity. Story of the pyramid did not end with Djoser and Imhotep. Their audacity ignited a fire in the hearts of those who followed. The age of the great pyramids had begun, and with it, a new chapter in the saga of human ambition. Far to the north, on the Giza Plateau, a new pharaoh would rise, Khufu, known to the Greeks as Cheops. His vision was even grander, his will even more unyielding. The Great Pyramid would dwarf all that came before, its scale so vast that it would baffle the world for millennia. The land around Giza buzzed with activity. Thousands of workers, artisans, and engineers converged on the site, their lives bound to the pharaoh's dream. The logistics were staggering. Quarries opened, roads built, food and water supplied to a small city of laborers. Overseers barked. Orders, scribes kept meticulous records, and priests offered daily sacrifices to ensure divine favor. The stones themselves were a marvel. Some weighed as much as 70 tons, yet they were cut with astonishing precision and transported across miles of desert. Ramps of mud brick and limestone snaked up the growing pyramid, their paths shifting as the structure rose. Teams of men hauled the blocks with ropes and sledges, their muscles straining, their voices raised in song to keep time. But the true genius lay in the planning. The base of the Great Pyramid was laid out with such accuracy that modern surveyors Marvel at its perfection. The sides are aligned almost exactly to the cardinal points, deviating by less than a fraction of a degree. The corners meet at right angles. The faces are flat to within a few centimeters. How did they achieve such precision with only the simplest of tools? Some believe the answer lies in the stars. The ancient Egyptians were master astronomers, their knowledge of the heavens rivaling that of any civilization before or since. Observing the rising and setting of certain stars, they could fix true north with remarkable accuracy. By measuring shadows at noon, they could ensure perfect right angles. The pyramid became a cosmic instrument, its geometry a reflection of the order of the universe. Inside, the mystery deepened. The passages and chambers were laid out with equal care, their dimensions encoded with symbolic meaning. The king's chamber, hidden deep within the heart of the pyramid, was lined with massive granite blocks, their surfaces polished to a mirror sheen. The air inside was cool and still, the silence broken only by the faint echo of footsteps dot here. In the darkness, the rituals of the afterlife would unfold. Priests would enter, bearing offerings and reciting spells to guide the pharaoh's soul. On its journey, the walls were inscribed with texts of power, words that would protect the king from demons and open the gates to the next world. The pyramid was not just a tomb. It was a machine for resurrection, a vessel to carry the soul to. The stars dot outside, the pyramid's gleaming casing stones reflected the sun, making the monument visible for miles in every direction. At dawn, the first rays would strike the apex, sending a shaft of light down the face. At night, the structure seemed to glow beneath the stars, a beacon to the gods. The people of Egypt watched in awe as the pyramid rose. Some saw it as a symbol of the pharaoh's might, others as proof of the gods' favor. For the workers, it was both a burden and a blessing, a chance to serve the divine, to earn a place in the afterlife. For the priests, it was a sacred duty, a way to maintain the balance of the world. Yet, for all its grandeur, the pyramid was also a place of secrets. Hidden chambers, false passages, and mysterious voids hinted at knowledge lost to time. Legends grew around the monument, tales of curses, of hidden treasures, of wisdom guarded by the gods themselves. The pyramid became a riddle, its answers locked in stone as centuries passed. The casing stones were stripped away, the treasures plundered, the names of kings forgotten. Yet the pyramids endured, their forms unbroken, their mysteries unsolved. Travelers from distant lands came to marvel, to speculate, to wonder. Some saw the hand of giants, others the work of sorcerers. But always the question remained, how did they do it? What drove them to such heights of ambition and skill? In the shadow of the pyramids, time itself seemed to pause. The desert winds whispered through the empty corridors, carrying echoes of prayers and songs, of hopes and fears. The monuments stood as silent witnesses to the dreams of a vanished world. But the story of the pyramids is not just one of stone and sweat. It is a story of faith in the power of the gods, in the promise of the afterlife, in the ability of humanity to reach beyond its limits. The pyramids are more than tombs. They are testaments to the eternal quest for meaning, for order, for immortality. Even now, as the sun sets over Giza and the stars emerge one by one, the pyramids stand as they have for millennia, vast, silent, and inscrutable. Their angles catch the last light of day. Their shadows stretch across the sand. They remind us that the greatest mysteries are not always hidden, but stand in plain sight, waiting for those with the courage to seek them. In the end, the pyramids are both question and answer. They are the legacy of a people who dared to dream, who reached for the heavens and left their mark upon the earth. Their story is our story, a story of wonder, of ambition, of the unending search for the divine. And as long as they stand, the mystery endures, calling us to look up, to imagine, And to remember,